woman can, anyway, but people are entitled to whatever they do. If a man can sit down and tell us that Mr. So-and-so quit my class because they are not intelligent and they cannot actually pass exams and they quit, that is not the responsibility of a professor simply because your former students became politicians. You go to a public television to ridicule them on the basis ko karanata na class le my exam will pass in my postgraduate degree program and he quit. Okay, but that was not a problem for many of you. Of course, to come back and say, okay, Mobojang stayed in the university for too long, that was never a problem for you. The same person came out and said, oh, I studied political science to the level of PhD, and I said, no, your degree is called African Studies, and that is a problem for you. Moro, alankana nyo barandi. Political today. I'll be political and be political. Okay. Some of you who claim that you are, neutral, self-styled neutrals, and of course, self-styled defendants of certain people because probably they have done one favor or another for you, or they had probably taught you in one subject or another. We are talking about our country, not specifically what you people or your relationships were with people. If they call our people out and tell them that they are not intelligent and they cannot pass exams, and then they actually quit university, certain programs, that they were running, even in their academic integrity, political albuka exam o pasal aliye fonyo karamoto dunta wala do itabe do ko minna karamoto woni political manyo jefena nini wal benda in the political arena. If you choose to throw those jabs at them, that's fine. But ni na de ko nga political karani ndol fana ngaje ko ila kayto ma wasa veje mba fole la kayto ndem ma wo foje fo mangeto nyati. So adol kam mbe wuro al kam na wuro ngamana fo mi mangeto nyati. But let's get into the national, issues that have to do with, our territorial integrity. Yalong, kabere nyman sakunda na a couple of mistakes they made. I thought they were smuggling weapons, they were taking weapons here and there. Senegal, yal nene munala, adunta jabora jana karani, there were rebels that were going to invade this country. Jam made deals with rebels, dunta jabora jam. That was primarily to come and get access to our security intel and everything that our country has. But because of your lack of foresight, and what the New Gambia was actually, the strength of the New Gambia lies on its vagueness. Because no, this is not what we voted for. But when you lean back and you ask, what exactly did you vote for? At some point you were mortgaging our territorial integrity and sovereignty to our next door neighbor. Senegal borderline issues. And then for the most part, Senegal was always curious about what is in the Gambia, because nakuo tute kumpolado more so in security wise. So mune atin na Gambia Mangania no learning Nigeria no learning other English country ka song wale na peacekeeping la, while Senegal just remains in Senegal because they are our next door neighbor. Ka do banku kote wala ntolni wala mang border sia. Well, they will not have any vested interest in our country. But Senegal has a mission under a mission in the Gambia, and there were two missions under a mission in the Gambia. First is to actually tackle the rebellion and of course the timber smuggling through the Gambia. Second was territorial expansion. Territorial expansion card what mole ibuka hani nun kana ka ko han tolle tamu janti bara silang adama ye hanyin de lekatun tolla masakunda be tolle bulo kono niaje ko kula abal bot mu wax la foy hol woto mi ye fu nyala wala ka foyebe damin jibela ntolla State House B. Instead of nga Ghana calling Nigerian or who would not have any vested interest in our country, nga mo kotengol mini yalong ko our next door neighbor who every day have vested interest in our country and our territory. Nga wala tangi dundije everything about our weaponry, everything about our intelligence, everything about our national security, everything about our sovereignty is in their hands. You see, when people talk about the military and some of them describe them in a different light, soldier akante you know why? You cannot disarm your army for 10 years and expect somebody to come and run an assault on them and then you expect them to do something. What can they do? The Senegalese military 2 days ago came to fight. Because walni sarta kombal dundan tolla banko kan enim bulldozer dundan na banko kan na soldier kunda fence boy. na soja rolo be loring imam kuno je because be kuno la je no nyaadi la kato nyindo la nata kelol la inin kele joran wala nata mi yalon ko asaken dolla molte match no la ni ko beta kelol la wodo so ni momin nata mi yalon ko kele tam man kele nyimbe ko min kena bala na tambela la mo eta sorenda la nya be kas ya jibe ayela banko tinya ka diata nya mi na pareta eta la hajola andon kabri man sakunda sa fero ke Senegal ye respond min na e jabiro min ko wala nyinti kon tolla nga ka diata nyalen tolle tamu alko president wala bentolo bulu mi ya lonko he is the commander-in-chief of the armed and security forces, and one of the key pillars or responsibilities of the armed forces is territorial integrity and of course protecting our territories and of course our sovereignty, as well as to repel any force of aggression. But there was a force of aggression that our military could not repel, and they stand back and they were just watching. They are bystanders in the middle of aggression on our country. Alko nyino masakunda te minyanda tula nyimbankoka nga tonya fon no nyoye adama mam bata bon ni ndolkan aman na banko protect no ay na banko doyande ndoyata banko le nyakoto Senegal e jutun nayani tilimbali yani konnante yani hasidiya tele na tenin telefulo komando na masakunda man ko kula noje. This is the truth. Nothing is more of a bully than what Senegal had done to the Gambia 2 days ago. That a sovereign nation will sit, plan an aggression on another country. Me Alonko, not even long ago, we have the presidential council meeting in Dakar when Barrow actually flew all the way to Dakar with almost the entire government machinery, with all the experts within government, and it will be at Senegal in Basiru for Basiru Nyadi Lomba. And it was it a meeting also the presidential accord, including matters relating to defense and security. So if all of those things happen, how comes less than a month later, me around control a million all the dunta water, na institutional heads, so almost all of them were in Dakar having all those meetings. Why could Senegal not use those bilateral means to actually discuss this matter and of course amicably have a solution to it than actually running an aggression on a sovereign nation? It's simply and squarely because Allah tanko ne suturo bentol la bulu, Allah intelligence bentol la bulu, min diata nyambe wala kelalla and alta kuno la je kato sanje kononda sa Allah mire almost sanje tang Allah military is completely disarmed, and then everything that has to do with the security and details of Allah bankola tanko abentol la bulu, Allah president be mararin tol la bulu. What of the person who controls your seat of power controls you. So Senegal in every means, in every way we put it, controls the Gambia. Gambia is even less of a a region for Senegalese. But long ninga fonka for kudo la nyama because mbadi wala nunku kenyo lebije but jutu na meta ntolni wala temale. So mune ya tinna from the beginning at the point of start in 2016 that we did not see the fact that no, strategically and of course in terms of security, this is not how these things should go. We would rather allow the Ghanaians and of course the Nigerians to take charge of our presidential security while Senegalese remain in Senegal, and we allow these other forces to come and of course control or help us in our territorial integrity and protection if we did not trust at the time the Gambian army. But how could you tell me that you run a country as commander-in-chief for 10 years and you still did not trust your army? That of course your military people could come out and complain about not even having boots to wear, and the next minute other people will come and of course run an assault on our territorial integrity and sovereignty, and our military will just stand and be watching, when in the constitution one of the key mandates of the military is to ensure that they protect our territorial integrity and sovereignty and at all costs repel any form of aggression on our nation. But I'm okay no. Fentem fo masakunda mi yalon kamanke masakunda tilendinte almuron dal ko kayto mi save ko atole safero le Senegal ale safero ke Senegal le monal ni mol ko ha ala le jisuma bonje ala man jisuma bu mo bonje ala man hani alta kelo keno ala ba keno la mol na abu ko nimbi ana atara fo Senegal le tilimbali ya min ken tolla bi atol ka fo mole ko ala jisuma la bonje ala kan to nya fo no nyoy we face the reality when it comes to matters of our nation. Even in our communities, people have land issues. But any more killing ya offense need not tamu. There are existing protocols and of course means and mechanisms to use to address and of course to seek redress. Ni aje ko kariye to nyela duntela dulala kona offense oloje ibuka nana esembo ja yala offense boy. Ikata kitio ala nyami yake onyama. Have Senegal taking Gambia to international courts of arbitration to actually make sure that there is a fair arbitration in between the Gambia and Senegal on matters relating to these border issues. But Senegal will tell the diate toli nata boita Gambia kan alla fenso bo entala ngala no min diata nyambola kelalla wala nyinti drom ya wala keje We did not even summon the Senegalese ambassador immediately to address this matter. No, all we did was to write a press conference, and Senegal immediately responded to the press conference, reaffirming their position and of course what they did, justifying that at Diate told the Yemenke, we know what Diate told Kaduna Gambia, Gambia la military installation of boy, Kadiate told Nyami, Nila Satra Kombal, Nila Bulldozer, Kaduna Banko, Kankanadula Tinya, Namasakunda Manifengo Fenefoje. For the president, I mean, Finda Kaho Mole, Conta Contanda, Bimaki Salala, Kanaja, and Senegal, la former president. Imagine Gambian military going into Senegalese territory, and of course with Sartre combats and all of those things. You know, Senegal, you know, military installation of boy for their president just to ride and say a former Gambian president is coming to visit him. Alko nyama sakunda la nyanta kontine la maralo rantola Bangkoka.